Hello and welcome to the Elle Scoop Show. We've got a new show for 2016. It's a new show with 3 new guests, actually 2 new guests. We hope that you all enjoy. Listen, we've got Melody Westerfield here with us today. This is her first time actually on the show, and we're going to be kicking it off with some really interesting information. And we've also got Zuri Johnson, plus size.
Miss Ohio
plus size America. Amen. You all hear the title. Give her a hand.
Funny.
All right. Listen, have you all set New Year's resolutions for 2016?
I was reading this article about a lady that she picks words, and those words are like her theme for 2016.
That's pretty interesting. Never heard of that before.
Yeah.
No big ones, just stress-free for me.
I feel you. Most people say that they don't keep their New Year's resolutions. There's something that they start out with, and by the end of February, it's over. It's kind of like the gym.
Yeah.
Like on January 1st, the gym
packed.
is packed
Yes.
out.
Right.
It's hot, it's sweaty, it's nasty, and by February 1st, it looks good again. Okay?
Yeah.
It's manageable, right?
Right.
I love it. I love it.
Especially if you go right after work, people are always in there.
Yeah.
There's no free machines or
Yeah.
anything like that. That's why I haven't been, kind of.
We'll use that as an excuse, right? Listen, you and me both.
So this is the beginning of the year. This is also the time that we are getting ready to watch the Oscars. This is another year where the need for a particular hashtag has been used in
Oscar so white.
Oscar so white. Well, this year, Jada Pinkett Smith has stated that she will not be attending the Oscars due to the lack of diversity in the actors and actresses that were nominated. Do you believe that there were other actors and actresses that should have been nominated? Do you think people were being snubbed? And also, what movies do you think should have been nominated?
Will Smith just did that Concussion movie. I think that was a really, really good movie, and I think that
enjoyed that
deserved to be nominated. So I think he was kind of cut on that one.
I agree. I mean, a lot of people said Straight Outta Compton was a great movie.
Yeah.
I never watched
I never
it
saw that
myself.
one. I'll
But-
have to check it out.
I heard
think-
that was good.
So often, what do they use to determine who gets an Oscar? Like what are they using to
there's a
determine? Because
whole-
I've seen a lot of great movies,
Right.
and there are lots of actors and actresses that I believe belong on that list, and they're not making it, and I'm not sure what the criteria is.
There's a whole board of voters and board of directors thing, and they are the ones that vote on it. Now, I will say, from what I understand, that board is not very diverse, and so that has an impact. People believe that has an impact, and there are just a number. I believe Creed should have been nominated.
Heard that was good.
Well,
Yeah.
a couple years ago, I thought Django, but I was told that Django did not make the list because it was controversial, which that's a movie that's based on true history, though. And
Several movies get nominated that are very controversial and just weird to me, and I haven't seen half the ones that were nominated.
well, let me just start out by saying this. I do believe that Hollywood should be, and producers should be producing movies that more minorities and African Americans or Asian Americans or anyone,
Right.
so that they can have and be nominated for Oscars. There are not very many people of colors that
I
you
agree
see
with you.
on the big screen, and I think that in order for them to get on the big screen, there has to actually be a role that's written for them.
True.
Or even if it's not written, that particular role may not be written for a minority, but we talked about this a couple weeks ago on the show, where you got movies that put people in roles based on colorblind casting, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We're okay with that.
Right.
Based on what we discussed here
Right.
at the show, I do think that there should be more minorities that have an opportunity to get
And not
an
just
Oscar.
in acting, but also directing. Selma last year with Ava DuVernay,
yes.
she was not nominated,
Yeah.
but the song, John Legend
Yeah.
song was nominated.
Yeah.
And I think that was a snub.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So what do y'all think about Chris Rock? So a lot of actors and actresses, along with Jada Pinkett and what's his name that produced the
Spike
movie?
Lee.
Spike Lee. Thank you so much. They're all saying that they're not going to go. But you've got Chris Rock, who is
be hosting
hosting
it.
the show, and a lot of people have, they've kind of spotlighted him and said that they think that he shouldn't. Do you all think that he should go on and host the show? Is this a total boycott, or should he be the representation?
I heard his name is, what is it, Don
Cheadle?
He wants him to. I've seen something on YouTube or the internet the other day that he wants him to actually go and host the awards and actually address. He thinks that he's the perfect guy to go on to address these very things that everyone is talking about. Whether you be for what Jada Pinkett is saying or against it, he thinks that there's something that he needs to address. So I'm kind of with him. I think he should do it. I think he needs to address the audience and the world at the same time. So that's my opinion.
There's a clip that's circulating on Facebook with Richard Pryor, and when this had occurred before, this isn't the first time this has occurred, back in the 1970s, and the way he handled it, he's at the Oscars, he's supposed to be presenting an award, and he's just talking about, there are no black actors, black actresses that have been nominated, but he handled it in a funny way.
Yeah. Well, speaking of celebrities, I have a different question for you all. So it seems that women in their later ages are having babies at 40, 42, 44 years old. You have Halle Berry, Celine Dion. They're all having babies in their 40s. I think that's kind of risky. What do you all think?
I think it's risky, but I am the product of a late
Really?
a late birth. Yeah, my mother was in her late 40s when she had me. Tyra Banks just recently got she had a surrogate.
She did.
She had a surrogate.
She did?
Yes.
Okay.
She was talking about her fertility issues. So I think some of them are just like, they just keep trying and keep trying. So it's almost like they're miracle babies.
Well, today's my 32nd birthday. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Let's just throw that out there, okay?
All right, happy birthday.
Thank you so much. The older I get, 40 doesn't look so old.
Wow.
And I feel like 40 is the new 30. And I hope so, right? No, not really? We're disagreeing on this?
I do agree. I actually agree.
But I truly think as I get older, I'm not married. I don't have any children yet. I don't have any desire right now to have any children. I have things on my list that I really want to accomplish before I get married and have kids, right? So I can understand someone wanting to have be 40 years old and have a child. I say to each his own though.
Yeah,
if you're young and you want to have a child at 25, 22, I say more power to you. By the time your kid is like 20, you'll be way out of retirement.
The problem is I just fear that it's going to be hard on the body. Like, the older we get, things start to happen, and I just feel like, oh God, it's going to be really hard on the body. So that's my fear. But honestly, I do agree. Like, if I could be 50 having a kid and I got all my stuff that I wanted to do out of the way, I'll be 50 years old on that table having a baby. So I'm okay with that.
There you go. And I'm sure that celebrities, they have money, obviously. And they've got great
nannies.
Exactly. Who can take care of these children.
And need a break.
Exactly. And I'm sure they have the best doctors too. So,
Yeah.
there's an opportunity for them to have a child and to still be healthy. So I say more power to them, right?
Yeah.
Listen, you all, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to be discussing more interesting topics. You all stay tuned and get scooped. Thank you, and welcome back to the Elle Scoop. Listen, ladies, I have a question for you all.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so I'm sure you all are all on the dating scene out there. Have you all ever dated a man that played video games all day? What do you think about video games? Is it a hobby, or do you think it's childish?
I personally think it's childish.
Do you?
I do.
Go ahead. Let's hear the reason behind this, ma'am. Men all around the world would like to know.
Well, here's the thing. At some point in time, what are you... Like, why is my question. Why? There's so many more other things that you can be doing. You can, be involved in charity, in church. You can be doing a lot of things. You can be spending time with your real family. You can be dating me. That's what you can do. But if you're spending all of your time playing video games, what growth is there in that? I don't see the growth in that. So I'm personally against it. It's something that you do until you get to your professional age, or I say after 21 it's time to put the video games up. It's time to get serious about life.
What? She put an age out there.
I do.
21.
After 21 it's time to get serious about life and focus.
Listen, if you like Game Box or PlayStation, don't call Melody.
Don't call me.
Right.
I
I have a slightly different. I do agree that at times it can be childish if they're just obsessed and if they are not paying attention to you. Y'all can't spend any time because they want to play the game. But I will say that I've seen where some people use it as a stress reliever. Some people smoke, drink, all those other things, whereas somebody else, this is their way of getting their mind off of everything that they may have been going through at work or family issues. And hey, I'd rather you play a video game than you go out somewhere and just get drunk or get high or something like that. At least you're at home somewhere. But when the video game starts taking attention away from me, that is when it becomes an issue. If, I'm trying to have some nice little friendly time with you and the video game is just getting all of your eyes.
It's childish, right?
It's not.
I
not going to work out.
I agree. It can be a hobby, and I think it can be childish too. If it takes away from your life and from really enjoying your life and being productive in life, and it's hindering in your relationships that you have, then I say let it go. Then it's childish.
Right.
But I mean, we all have habits and hobbies that we like. Men may say that shopping.
Shopping.
Too much
I knew shopping was going to be.
Than shopping.
okay, so a little retail therapy.
Right.
I totally understand.
Well, speaking of shopping, I don't know if you all saw the State of the Union address at the beginning of the year, but Michelle Obama, First Lady, gorgeous woman. She had on this beautiful marigold dress, and it was by Narciso Rodriguez. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, but she had on this dress. We don't know how she got this dress. It was probably gifted to her. But on, I want to say Nordstrom's or Neiman Marcus website, that dress literally sold out.
Everything she wears sells out.
It sold out. And so one thing, that was a big issue. People tried to make it an issue as far as her wearing this dress that was like almost $3,000. You don't know how she got the dress. But the other thing is, would you consider First Lady a style icon?
Yes, I follow the blog misso.org. It's really
I didn't
awesome.
know there was a blog.
Oh yeah, forever. I always look at it. They go through and look at all her wardrobe pieces that she has, and every place that she's been, they kind of capture her and her style. I like Michelle Obama. I like her a lot. She is one of the first ladies that I believe is very reachable and touchable, and you can relate to her as a person. One thing that I really like about her is President Obama, when he first got in office, extended a hand to Muslim nations, and that's one of the reasons why he received the Nobel Peace Award. She's one of the first ladies that has actually worn designers that are not American, and I feel like in her own way, that's her way of kind of bringing unity too, and I like that about her. And so yes, I would say she's a style icon, but she's more than just a style icon. She's very smart, very intelligent,
that is true. And
she sets a standard for a lot of women in the United States, not just women of color, but across the board.
I totally agree with you, but I just think that she's like me.
Right.
I mean, I think that she's reachable. I think that she wears things that are, like I wear, just something that's very comfortable, very fun.
Right.
I don't think she's intending to be this icon, but I think that she's just really very normal when it comes to clothing to me in my eyes. And she doesn't, but she will put on some pieces that I'm just like, wow.
Right.
Really? That's
Wow.
true.
Wow.
And that belt, she wears a belt with everything. I think that's like her fashion accessory that she uses. It looks good.
It does.
So I'm going to change up the tone a little bit.
Oh.
So I'm going to ask you girls a question about if men have the right to ask women to have an abortion when they're not ready to be parents or fathers.
Oh my gosh. That's a deep question.
It is a deep question.
But there's a lot of people that have conversation and questions about this, and I know men on their end feel like it's not just the woman's decision, and there are a lot of women that feel like it is just their decision to make it since they carry the baby. I don't have an answer for that. I know for myself, I wouldn't put myself in a position to be having a child if I didn't want one. I think there are abstinence, and outside of abstinence, there are plenty of ways to protect yourself from giving birth or, having a child if you don't want to have a child. So for me, it's just taking the proper steps to ensure that doesn't happen in any of those ways or forms or methods. So I can't say. It's so hard to say. I don't know.
I think that, one, you need to be mindful of the situation you place yourself in. Whenever you lay down with someone, that person may end up having your child, whether you're using birth control or not.
Right.
And another thing, I do believe the man has some say as far as a woman. I don't believe a woman should just go off and do it and not have a conversation with the father of the child.
Yeah.
But there's a connection that woman has to that child that man won't understand. And so he won't be the one that has to deal with the internal conflicts that she would be going through from possibly having that abortion.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that men, when they're afraid of the situation, this is why they run sometimes, because they're not prepared. They don't know what to do. Well, women are in the same predicament, but I don't think that they have the right to make that choice on behalf of women because of this choice, because women don't get the right to run. I mean, sometimes they make choices to be able to put a child up for adoption and things like that. But for the most part, they can't run. They see that thing through. So I don't think that they have that choice. So that's my opinion on it.
That kind of rolls me into my next topic when we're talking about relationships or even marriage. A lot of women are waiting. We talked about women waiting later to have babies, but a lot of women are waiting to actually get married later on in life for a number of different reasons. You know, you've got Oprah Winfrey, who's still not married.
I don't think she even plans.
I don't think she wants to.
George Clooney, who just recently got married to an amazing woman. She is awesome, very smart, very intelligent, very smart and beautiful at that too. But why do you think people are waiting to get married? Do you think it's because of a lack of option, or do you think it's because of a lack of interest?
I'll say that the reasoning for getting married, some of it has changed because part of our reasons before was economic reasons. We needed that household, we needed that family income. Women weren't making as much or didn't have the opportunity to make as much, so we were looking to get married at a much earlier and younger age. But because women are in a position where they're earning more for themselves, they're also doing more by themselves. Now, I'm not saying that is the reason that I just want to go and do and just live my life and be this free, independent woman. That's not me. But I think that's a part of it, is that they can afford to stay to themselves longer.
There you go.
I have a different insight on it. For me personally, any relationship that I've gone in and then I've come out, I've kind of learned something different about myself and what I want and my expectations. So as I get older, I pick up something else that I won't tolerate or that I stand on. And it seems to be a little bit harder to find someone. So, most of the time you stay prayed up and you're just kind of waiting for Mr. Right to come through the door. So I think that for me, a lot of women are looking at it the same way. At least a lot of the girls that I, kind of hang around, we're kind of just marking things, putting things on our list, marking things off our list, and just kind of waiting for Mr. Right to come around. So I think that's the reason why women are waiting till later years to get married.
Lack of option, lack of interest, lack of option. Hey, we'll take both of them. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll be talking about more interesting topics. You all stay tuned and get scooped. Welcome back. Listen, I want to take a time to introduce you and all that you do. You currently have a program called Drinks and Dialogue.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Basically, it started on my couch with a bunch of girls. We continue to grow it. A lot of my friends keep coming and wanting to be a part of it. We recently just added the male version of it. So we all get together and just kind of discuss relationships. It's kind of light. It's not really a lot of politics, but just a lot of relationship-based things. And, we talk about things like, is chivalry dead?
That's a good question. Is chivalry dead?
I probably have a different perspective just because I surround myself with guys. No, I'm not that girl. Yeah. But a lot of the guys that I know, they're very chivalrous. They are not my boyfriend. They are not my man, but they still treat me as
that's their standard.
Yes,
girl. Can I get a high five on that?
Yeah, they treat me as, I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm not going to talk crazy to you. And even though, I'll be honest, even though they may do that or talk about some other people like that, they don't do that to me. They open doors, all those things. So I think it really depends on the type of guy that you're around. I feel like some people, they complain and they complain and they complain about certain guys, but I feel like they just keep getting around the same guy and maybe not giving the opportunity to other guys because they just stick with their type that they know.
I say chivalry is only dead if you allow it to be dead.
Right.
Truth be told, if a guy approaches me and wants to date me and he doesn't treat me in a manner that I feel like I need to be treated, then that situation's dead. It's over. It never started. Right? It's over. Don't call me anymore. Right? I mean, but I think it's all based on your standard. There are a lot of women that feel like chivalry's dead because they continue to open the door to the same kind of men. Right? But if you're dating someone and that person they understand who you are, and you have an understanding of who they are, then they're going to treat you, and they have an understanding of who they are too, and what their role is, and what your role is, if you all believe in roles, then they're going to treat you in a way that is respectful. So I think chivalry is only dead if you allow it to be dead in your life. So
men would say the same thing. They say chivalry is not dead. I think though they pick and choose who they want to give their chivalry behaviors to. That's what I think.
So you think it's based on worth? Whether or not they see you and think that you're worthy of it? Okay.
A piece
well,
of
all
it.
right then. I wish we had a male here.
But
so
I
we can
think
get some commentary on
I
this.
think that
dialogue is.
Okay.
But I think that's kind of true just because you put out what you want to receive. So if I'm putting out this way that you can treat me like this and I'll put up with this like you were saying, then someone is going to say, well, then that's how I'm going to treat you. And then sometimes when a guy does try to treat certain ladies better, then they call him soft or he's he doesn't know, he's not a real man, and he's not
Question is manhood.
Well, then how do we want chivalry, but then we don't want it when it comes to us?
You want chivalry to look good on the thug person? I
Yes.
So
maybe.
I don't know. The key term typically is thirsty. I hear girls say thirsty. It's
Right.
like, well, he just likes you. Like that's how a guy
Exactly.
treats a girl if he really likes you.
Right.
But that brings me to my next question, and we talk a lot about dating here on this show for some reason. I mean, 3 single ladies.
We all
I wonder why.
So.
Okay. Do you all think it's appropriate for a man to take a woman to church on the first date? Would you consider that a date? If a guy called you and said, "Hey, will you go with me to Mount Ebenezer Baptist Church on Sunday at 2:00?
I think
you
it's
go?
okay. Yeah.
Okay, you count it as a date.
I count it as a date.
All right
I
then.
count it as a date because I get to see him in an element that I want to see a man in at church. I want to see, are you praising God? Are you into the music? Are you listening? Or
Did you go to sleep on the back pew? I saw that.
I want to see. Yeah, I count it. Count it.
Well, all right. What do you think, Zuri?
I think I would count it as a date. I don't know if I would want it to be my first date. Like we've been talking and then our first date is at church. I would like to see, I would like my first date to be a place where we can have a conversation. At church, we can't I'm not going to be having a full conversation with you. The pastor's up there preaching.
Yes.
There you go.
Unless we followed it up after church and we went out for breakfast or something and we had a conversation. Because that could tell me a lot about you and your values.
I think so too. I think that's a telltale sign of what that person finds interesting and what they value in life. And so if a man I've actually been invited on a date. I think it was a date.
I think it was
See,
a
here we
date.
go. The question.
You don't even know.
I don't
when
know.
they're taking you on
It was
a
a
date.
date, but it was the first time that we hung out. So, and he invited me to his church, and we hung out many, many, many times after that. So, pretty interesting. I give it 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
It's not the normal, traditional date, but it
Something
works
to
for me,
talk
right?
about at least.
There you go.
Right. Well, talking about dating, and let's talk about teens.
Okay.
Because there's a new app out there. Teens, we have our phones. We do whatever we want to do with our phones. I'm a little bit older than an 18-year-old, 14-year-old. So the things I do on my phone and the things that they do may be different.
Yeah.
But there's an app called Teen Safe that allows parents to go back and look at their teens' deleted text messages. And with this app, it also will let you know that person's location and their call history and their browser history. And it also shows other things like Instagram. So do you think that this is overstepping the teens' privacy boundaries.
No, I'm gonna go right in there. Absolutely not. I think that teens don't have privacy.
I agree.
When they're still under the mother's roof, you don't have a privacy rule. I need to know everything that's going on in that room. I think it's absolutely. Which is completely off subject, but don't think that teens should have phones. But that's just way.
Really?
Yeah, that's just.
They start driving at 16.
Did you have a cell phone?
I did. I
did not get.
I don't think 9-year-olds and 7 and 8-year-olds
God.
should, but they do. Yeah.
I know
need to
reasons
know.
though. If play practice is over and Daddy left Jimmy there and he needs a ride because it ended early.
Have Becky's and Lorena's mama call me on the phone.
Who is Lorena?
Tell those mamas to call me on the phone. It's over. No.
I'll say this, and I agree with you in a way, because I do think that parents should have the right to go into their teen's room and look at different things. It's their responsibility to train up their child and to raise them in a way that they are responsible citizens and adults. Yeah. However, I do think that trust has to be established in relationships. And if you don't establish trust in the relationship that you have with your teen, then they'll just do things behind your back.
Yeah.
Right.
They won't even use your cell phone. They'll use their friends.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
If they
true.
know. So I think I don't know. I think there has to be a balance
Yes.
to the act in, are you looking because you really have a reason to look? Are you looking because...
But see, that's the thing. Teens are going to try it.
They
Period.
are. That's true.
They're going to
test their
try it. They
boundaries.
do. So...
Well, I think that parents should be able to look, because they're predators.
Oh, yes.
There are predators that are talking to teens through Facebook, talking to them through different ads that are put out there, where I know teens have put out ads just looking for a friend, and then this 60-year-old man is responding to it and asking inappropriate questions.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
It's real, though.
It's it's really real.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how human trafficking kind of starts
Exactly.
too, and it opens the door to a lot of different things. So I agree with that. I do think that parents have to be careful, and Larry. But speaking of online, to kind of bring this into a whole nother view, there are a lot of companies out there that have put in their clauses that you cannot get online and do a review for their particular company if you had a bad experience. So if you wanted to get on TripAdvisor and comment about a place that you stayed after you stayed there, and you said, they had roaches or was dirty, you can't say that. It actually puts you in a position to actually be sued, because it's written inside of their contract. Do you all feel like this is a violation of the First Amendment rights?
Yes.
Definitely.
And in the contract, is it saying that you can't get on a specific type of site? Because there are several
You
companies
can't
that
do
have
online reviews. If you
online,
have a
like
negative,
it says a review.
you can't do a negative online review. Yes.
Because there are several companies, I'm not going to name them, but that have been just laid out on the floor because of reviews people have done on Facebook. They've just mentioned this company's name and said, I'm not flying with them, I'm not staying there anymore, I'm not going to eat there anymore because of this. And they weren't necessarily going on that company's website and doing that review. They were just
Word of
stating
mouth
it.
travels, that is for sure. And social media travels.
Yes.
Yes.
But listen, ladies, we've actually reached our 30-minute peak.
Okay.
There you go. So the show is actually over. You all give yourself a round of applause. You all tune in. The show comes on every Sunday at 5 o'clock, so be sure to check it out. Also go online. The website's called www.ellescoop.com. That's ELLE scoop.com. You all stay tuned until next Sunday. Thank you, and get scooped.